Today, I will tell you about the 5 most popular myths regarding the medieval crossbow. Let's start with the most common one, rate of fire. It is widely believed that while a crossbowman is spanning the string, an archer manages to loose 10 arrows. This is only partially true and applies only to heavy siege models. There was a vast variety of light crossbows that were spanned using a belt hook or simply by muscle power. An experienced shooter could fire up to 4 or 5 shots per minute. Yes, that is less than an English longbow, but the gap was not catastrophic. Furthermore, the crossbowman did not need to hold the string under tension with his own physical strength. He could aim calmly without trembling from colossal muscle strain. In real combat conditions, accuracy often proved more important than rate of fire. So, the legend of the incredibly slow reloading crossbow is a significant exaggeration. The crossbow was a fairly dynamic weapon, even compared to the more modern arquebuses. Moving on to the second myth, absolute armor penetration. In movies, we often see a bolt piercing plate armor right through like paper. In reality, high-quality Milanese or Gothic armor was a true engineering marvel. The steel was hardened and had a spherical shape to make projectiles ricochet, making it practically impossible to pierce such armor. To guaranteed pierce a breastplate, one needed a very heavy crossbow and a near-perfect perpendicular angle of impact. At medium and long ranges, a crossbow bolt most often simply left a dent or glanced off. The mass introduction of breastplates was actually a response to the increasing power of crossbows. Crossbowmen aimed for vulnerable spots, visors, or horses. Knights were not defenseless targets, as people often try to portray them. Weapons and armor were in a constant arms race where no one had an absolute advantage. Only the most powerful steel crossbows could compete with the high-end armor of the time. The third misconception concerns firing range. It seems logical. The string is tighter, so the arrow flies further. But physics works a bit differently. A crossbow has a very short power stroke compared to a longbow. Energy is transferred to the bolt in a burst, but over a short distance. A good longbow and a medium crossbow had comparable effective ranges, about 200 to 250 meters. The crossbow's advantage lay in the flat trajectory of the bolt. It was much easier to hit a specific target at a distance of 50 to 70 meters. However, in volley firing over large areas, bows often had the upper hand. Heavy siege crossbows did indeed shoot further, but their projectiles were less stable due to their design. Thus, in a typical field battle, the distances were roughly equal.
The fourth myth claims that the crossbow was a weapon for untrained warriors. Certainly, training a crossbowman was faster than training a high-class archer, but that doesn't mean no preparation was required at all. A crossbow is a complex device that requires maintenance. One had to know how to properly care for the string so it wouldn't snap in battle. The reloading process in the heat of combat required perfect muscle memory and composure. A mistake while using a windlass could lead to serious injury for the shooter or a breakdown of the crossbow. Judging distance and adjusting for wind remained vital skills. Professional mercenary crossbowmen, such as the Genoese, were worth their weight in gold. These were disciplined soldiers, not just militiamen. As you can see, the history of the crossbow is much more complex and interesting than what we are shown in movies. It wasn't an ultimate weapon, but it was the perfect tool for its era, allowing for effective action in both offense and defense.